Alright guys, what is up? Today we have another video. Today we're going to be talking about the intake system I went on this car. I have a lot of videos out on this car about my mods, you know, each mod basically, but I never did a video on the intake. So today I'm going to be letting you guys know why basically I went with the Forge Motorsport intake compared to all the others on the market, AEM, InGen, 6 Element, Torque Motorsports, all that good stuff. So without further ado, let's get to it. Let me pop the engine bay here for you guys. Alright guys, so here we have the Forge Motorsport intake. So any of you who are new to this channel that don't know, this is the Forge Motorsport intake system for the Hyundai Veloster N, also for the Hyundai i30N. So this is basically a universal intake that works on both. I also have, though, however, the Forge Motorsport turbo inlet. So that is extra. That does not come with it. If you buy just the intake, you get basically the filter, the pipe, all the way up to right here, which is basically the stock turbo inlet. If you're going to replace the intake system on the Veloster N, I highly recommend replacing the turbo inlet at the same time. Why? Because it's basically just 3 bolts. You get those 3 bolts off, you take that off, and you slide the turbo inlet onto the intake system. If you do not get the turbo inlet, it is okay. However, you sort of are kind of bottlenecking the intake because you've got this massive intake here. This is 4 inches, and then the stock turbo inlet, I believe, is 2 inches, and then tapers down to 1 inch. So the Forge inlet, as you can see, it still stays 4 inches, and then it tapers down to a 3 inch, and then it tapers down to about a 2 inch on the little flange there, and then a 1 inch into the turbo, or I think it's like 1.5, something like that. Or another reason why I went with the Forge was that I believe it's the only intake right now on the market for the Veloster N that is 4 inches. So I wanted a full 4-inch intake. I just wanted the biggest possible, 4 inches, all the way in, all the way to the turbo. And then another reason I went with Forge is I honestly wanted a aluminum tube, mainly because of the sound. I personally really like the sound of, you know, metal or aluminum or just hard pipe intakes compared to, say, rubber or even carbon fiber. Now I know carbon fiber is a little bit lighter. I just like the sound of the aluminum. Now some of you are probably asking or gonna say, you know, well, the aluminum that gets hot, it heat soaks, and yes, you are correct. This turbo gets extremely hot. This car does have heat soak issues. However, we do have an upgraded intercooler on this car and upgraded charge pipes as well. I'm not sure if you guys can see the Forge logo there. But so I'm not really worried about charge temps anymore because of the upgraded intercooler. So I really don't have an issue with intake air temperatures anymore. So if you're worried about heat soaking, honestly, just get an intercooler, because even if you get a closed air box, some people like to get the closed air box here, so you're getting cold air, right? Technically, yes, you are, but the air still has to go through the turbocharger. So even if your air is cool coming into here, it's still going to get hot after it goes through the turbo. So what makes a bigger improvement for intake air temperatures would be the intercooler. That's why personally I think just having an open intake is better, because it breathes better. It may get a little more heat soak, but with an upgraded intercooler it really isn't a problem. So that's why I went with a metal 4-inch tube. So I really like the Forge. The sound is phenomenal. If you have the stock blow-off valve, you actually can hear the turbo noises. However, it's kind of quiet. I personally would recommend upgrading to Turbo Smart, HKS, Greddy, something. Even the AV6 from 6 Element is a great option. Another thing, guys, we have this little blue kind of cap on here. So what this is basically just a cap for the bypass valve inlet. Basically, this has an inlet for the bypass valve. Some intakes don't have this, so there is a few intakes on the market you can buy where it's just the tube. There's no opening for the bypass valve, because it's designed basically for a vent to atmosphere blow-off valve. So that's basically what this is. This is a VTA HKS. I forget what website it was that I got this, but it's HPS, just a little, you know, tubing, little cap. So it works good, plugs it up. So we just have the main intake here, and it's running good. So I'm really happy with this intake, guys. It runs about $399 for this intake, and like I said, again, you just get the filter, the tube. You don't get the turbo inlet. If you want the turbo inlet, it's about an extra $200 for the turbo inlet. But again, I do recommend it if you're going to replace the intake, get the turbo inlet. Oh, and another thing, Forge, in terms of the brand, Forge Motorsport, if you guys don't know, is a very, very reputable brand. They have parts on full-blown, you know, hot hatch race cars, rally race cars. So Forge is a very, very well-known brand. I would say Forge and 6 Element are the two #1 brands to buy any parts right now for the Veloster end. But again, I am really happy with this intake, guys, and I do recommend it. You know, there's some other intakes on the market that are very similar to this, but I don't think there's any that are 4 inches and any that just have this nice of build quality that pairs up this nicely with a large turbo inlet. And this is also a rubber turbo inlet. There are some aluminum ones on the market, but personally I think the rubber ones are actually bigger, so I would again recommend something of this type of turbo inlet. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Let me know what you guys think too about the how these videos look now, because I'm using a new Osmo stabilizer. So let me know how you guys like it, and let me know if you guys like it's kind of this little spot that I found here to film. I think my car looks good out here. It's kind of secluded. But thanks guys so much for watching, and take care.